Welcome to the Lead Gen Underground. Every week we come on and we just go for a half an hour. Steve, you haven't been here before, so we just go for a half an hour only. And that really helps us pack in the gold nuggets, and it really respects everyone's schedule, right? So we can fit everything in. Guys, this is Steven Morales. I'll let him introduce himself really quick, but I'm super, super excited to have him here today because I know he's just going to drop gold nuggets all over you that are going to help your business. Steven, go ahead, buddy. Who are you?
Thanks, Josh. First, I want to say thanks for having me on here. For those of you that don't know me, Steven Morales, I've been doing sales for over 11 years. I've been doing real estate investment acquisitions for 5 years. I've closed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals, all completely virtual. I have gone in person when I first started out, and then, over the phone was just a thing, and really learned the art of mastering closing deals right over the phone, giving an offer in 7 minutes or less. But that's pretty much it. I also rehab houses. I mainly wholesale. I've been involved in various industries from door to door to multi-level marketing to phone stock sales. And really, I'm just focused on real estate investments right now. No matter what the market's like, you got to pivot a few things in your business, which does include closing deals over the phone. So if you can really get good at that, you can teach somebody else to do that. You can build a really solid team. So.
Absolutely. And the stars have kind of aligned for you and your skill set during this whole COVID thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great, man.
Talk about a little bit just about your philosophy of how what I've learned is that closing over the phone is a big mindset thing. And I think a lot of people have a hard time getting over that hump. What's like your mindset on it? Like just kind of your philosophy on that. And how do you give an offer in 7 minutes? Because that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's interesting because when I first got introduced to that concept, I thought it was stupid and crazy. Like I was so used to going to the appointments and 70% times ARV minus repairs minus wholesale fee, all that stuff. And really, what really matters is if you're wholesaling and you have a subject property and you're looking at comparables, and let's say it's the similar square footage, bedroom, bathroom, and condition. If cash buyers are buying it for like 160 and yours is similar, your max offer is going to be 150. And it's worked great. In 5 years, I haven't used the 70% times ARV and all that stuff. Everybody has their own method. I feel like that's just what works for me in order to give an offer in less than 7 minutes. If I'm rehabbing the house, I do get contractors out there. I go a little bit more in depth. But when it comes to wholesaling, all you need to really care about is what are the end buyers buying at. And I think the biggest mindset thing going into virtual acquisitions is some people, especially what's going on right now, some people don't even want to meet. What I found is elderly sellers are a lot more hesitant to pull the trigger. So I have to come with the approach from their perspective. So if they don't have a good idea about this COVID, they're scared, I say, hey, the good thing about our company is we can move at your pace, no worries. And every time I talk to people, I tell them it takes about 7 minutes. So within 7 minutes, I know what my offer is. It doesn't mean I have to give it because some people just want to talk and talk and talk. But you should know within 7 minutes what the max offer is. Simply by, I use the MLS. I think it's the best used data. I look at the cash transactions, see what end buyers are buying at. And I wasn't good at this when I first started. I was really bad. It took me a good week and a half to kind of grasp the concept. And I always recommend to somebody starting out, when I hire people in-house, it's focus on day one, the script. Day two, you just focus on the comps. Day 3, 4, and 5, you kind of put everything together. But it's really not rocket science. It's really just repetitive. And as you're transitioning from meeting people face-to-face and you're going to virtual acquisitions, is a little bit more uncomfortable. But that's okay because that's just a learning process at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I'm training a few guys right now. If you can teach them the script and get them to nail it in one day, that's incredible because it takes for them to get it really, really down to sound smooth and everything to flow. It's taking a week, maybe a week and a half through everything, through the whole conversation. What pieces of information do you need to know to get your offer in 7 minutes? Like what are the vital pieces?
So the most important piece anybody needs in order to make an offer over the phone is a good source of data, whether that's MLS or PropStream. There's a lot of things out there. What I don't recommend is using like Zillow and, Redfin and stuff like that. But the best data, what I use is MLS, your local market. Get an assisted login if you're not licensed. If you are licensed, you have MLS access. So you need data. While you're talking with the homeowner over the phone, you're collecting the condition of the property, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, condition, they tell you. And really, your mindset, another mindset thing is no matter what they tell you, the house will always fall in one of three categories. It either needs a full renovation, right? It's in fair condition, or it's fully renovated. So when I'm looking at comps, I really just want to look at one of those three categories based upon what they told me, you know? And then that's what's going to tell you what your offer is. So, you know, there's a lot of negotiations, a lot more to it, but simply look for a similar property that an investor bought, and however much you want to make is however less you're going to offer than that investor bought it at.
So what I'm hearing is you're making it pretty simple up front, where to other people it might sound complex. You're just looking to see what other people have paid for in that area and what kind of radius.
You know, that's a good question, because a lot of people, they use that radius. And for me, in the market that I'm in Tampa, and it's very diverse. I mean, you can have like a mansion next to a mobile home. So I want to get a perspective on everything. I don't really look at the radius. I really just look at by neighborhoods. I don't want to cross, you know, major intersections or bodies of water, but I want to get a perspective on everything going on in the area. There might be some new construction across the street. There might be a mobile park on the other side. So I just look at everything, but you do want to stay within, you know, within the neighborhood, similar year built, stuff like that. You don't really want to go out more than, I would say, a mile, mile and a half, depending on what market you're in.
Sure. Okay. So he's keeping it simple, guys, right there, right off the bat, finding out what other investors are paying for, and then just making your price less than that, leaving you some room in the deal. And then the second thing that he said is he's putting every deal in one of three buckets, and it's just as simple as that. Stephen, when you're getting on the phone, what's the process? Are you normally having a VA drop you leads, or are you still prospecting some and then moving into qualification? What's that process, that timeline look like for you?
Great. So I have some cold callers. They'll cold call hundreds of leads. Anybody that is interested in getting an offer, they'll push through the CRM. And then when I look at Podio, it comes in as a new and touch lead. I look at the notes. I call this lead back. I go through the script. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Do you want me to go a little bit more into the script, or?
Yeah, sure. Touch on the script just a little bit, if you would.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing about the script, if you're looking to do virtual acquisitions, a lot of homeowners that you speak with, they're used to speaking with other investors that, you know, the traditional ways, you go to my house, you walk the house, there's haggling back and forth. If you're doing virtual acquisitions, the most important thing is setting the proper expectation. The way I like to set it up is, hey, my name's Steven. I believe you spoke with my assistant in regards to your property on 123 Main Street. Did I catch you at a good time? Yes, great. Well, our process is real simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some basic questions about the property. That way I can go and evaluate it right here on the computer. It takes about 7 minutes. Does that sound good? Because a lot of people, they think you have to go to their house. And if they're like at the grocery store or watching their kids, they feel like they're going to try to brush you off the phone. So if they don't have that 7 minutes at least, then try to reschedule at a time that makes sense for them. But let them know it takes about 7 minutes. I'm going to give you an offer over the phone. And also another important thing is you're not going to close every deal over the phone. I mean, even though I close most of our deals over the phone, you're not going to be 100% deals over the phone. Another thing that I do have is boots on the ground. So if I ever have like an elderly seller or somebody that may not have like Wi-Fi or something to sign a deal, I have agents that I schedule an appointment with and they go out there. So I always let the homeowner know, hey, if I'm not a good fit, I do have a team of agents that could still assist you. Because let's face it, some people, you can't offer them what they want. Like, so let's say the average 300,000, they want 290, and they have a mortgage of, I don't know, 290, whatever, they're willing to break even. They're not gonna, you're gonna waste your time with a cash offer and trying to convince that person to go that route. So for those leads, I try to capitalize on every lead I get, right? And I let homeowners know, like, you either want a top dollar, quick sale. If I'm not a good fit, I do have a team of agents that can assist you. Now, setting up the appointment for the agents, you want to set it up in a way that you don't sound too salesy, pushy. Because my style, I'm not a salesy, pushy guy. What I love to do is I give options to the homeowner. It sounds something like this. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, I know you want 290. Hey, just to let you know, as an investor, I can't pay above full market value or else I'd be out of business. But I think you're asking a great price range on the open market. How about we do this? My partner, they're an agent. I can have them reach out to you, discuss some options as to what they can do to help you sell the property on the open market. If you like what you hear, great. If not, no big deal. At least you know what your options are. How's that sound? If they say no, they're really not motivated. But if they say yes, they're just open to hearing options. Then the agent calls that lead, the warmer the transfer, the harder chance of them getting that listing. So whether they want a high price or a low price, as long as they're serious, you got to capitalize on every lead.
Dude, I love that. I love that. Okay, so you're setting really good advanced expectations right up front. You're giving them an out. You're giving them, if they can say no, right? If they're busy, they can say no, I don't have 7 minutes or whatever, but you're giving them that choice up front. And I found that to be really important. That's really good. Okay, when you're going through on the phone, early in my career used to talk to a ton of people without making a lot of offers. And it's because I wasn't qualifying them in the right order. How do you get out the tire kickers up front so you're not wasting a bunch of time with them on the phone and you can get to the more important calls?
It's an excellent question. And that's something that is so important, spending the right amount of time on the right leads, because you're going to talk to people that just waste time. So what I look for is, let's say there's two types of people. Hey, I'm not really looking to sell. I just want to see what my house is worth or an appraisal. If you go through the script with that person at the very end of the call, what I've noticed at least is like, okay, thanks for your time. Okay, were you looking to sell? No, I just want to see. And I've wasted like 7 to 10 minutes with them. So I don't spend my time with those people. If they say that, I say, hey, I'm not in the business of making offers. I'm in the business of buying property. So if you're not looking to sell, I can completely understand. Keep my number. When you already sell, give me a call back and I'll be more than happy to help you. I always leave on a positive note, because if their situation changes, I'm going to be on their mind. Now, then you're going to get some people say, I'm not looking to sell unless I get the right price. You don't know what their right price is. They might want, above full market value, or way below market value. Some of my biggest deals have been with people that say, I'm not looking to sell unless I get the right price. So they would sell. It's just up to you to find out what that right price is. So I'll go through the script with those people. Worst case scenario, they want too much, I push it as a listing, but at least they're a lot more receptive, and then you're going to get people that time you. Oh, you called me. What's your offer? What's your offer? You're going to get really aggressive people. With those people, say, hey, sounds like you're not looking to sell. No problem. I'll take you off the list. If anything ever changes, give me a call back. So I filter through those people very quickly, and I want to stay on the phone with people that are a lot more receptive to getting an offer, no matter how much they want, as long as they're serious.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned so far, and I learned a lot of that just from listening to you on YouTube and stuff like that, but filtering and then order of operations. Is there a particular order of operations that you're asking questions on the phone, something that's really important to go up front or something that's important to go at the back before you give an offer?
Rapport is the biggest thing throughout a conversation. And I feel like if I establish that in the very beginning, the rest of the conversation goes extremely smooth. And some people ask me, like, at what part do you put in rapport? And really, there's no magical script that if somebody says this, you say that. But I feel that if I engage in rapport in the very beginning, then the rest of the conversation, they feel okay, they're positive, and I want to remain in control. So the way I build rapport, I don't focus too much on building rapport, because that could extend the conversation for such a long time. And if they're not too motivated, you could find yourself following up too much. But what I do to build rapport is very simple. You guys might want to write this down. But what I do is I name a nearby street or landmark. So let's say I get the address. Oh, it's 123 Main Street. Isn't that next to, I don't know, the elementary school? Or isn't that next to the church or whatever? Once you listen to your calls and you say that, you almost hear the homeowner sounding a lot excited, because once you name something that they can relate to and find common ground, they automatically trust you a little bit more, because they know that you're the expert in the area. And all you really have to do, guys, is copy and paste Google, the address into Google, and look at landmarks. If they're out in the middle of nowhere, let's say there's no landmarks, it's in a country area, rural area, whatever, you want to name a nearby street that directly connects with their road. So if they have to go to the grocery store, what is a road they have to take to get to the grocery store? That way they know that you know the area. Even though you've never been there, you have the tools and data to do so. So copy and paste the address, name a nearby street or landmark, and that'll actually open the door to a lot more rapport. Like some people, if I'm in Tampa, hey, isn't that next to the Buck Stadium? Oh, yeah, man. I used to be a Patriots fan. They signed Brady. Yeah, football. We start talking football for a little bit, and then I redirect them back. So tell me about your property. Can you tell me a little bit more about the bedroom, bathroom, condition, things like that. So the script, I always look at the script as a way of bullet points and guidance. I don't want to sound robotic and say it word for word, because every conversation, guys, it's going to go completely – it's not the same conversation. I've done live calls where somebody's agreed to an appointment and then look at the contract, then they start talking about their dog. So it goes everywhere. The most important thing about the script is to redirect them back to the flow and the process. That way you get all the information you need in order to make the best offer possible.
That's awesome. That's really good. Here's the hardest part that I think that other people ask me about a lot, and I'm sure you get asked this a ton because you're way better than I am. But how do you actually make the offer on the phone? It's not just saying, "Hey, I'll give you 90,000 for it." How does that flow go for you? What's like your sort of process for giving that offer?
You know, it's funny. I never give offers. You know, it sounds weird, but what I do is I give offer ranges. So this is how I give my offers, and this is what works for me. I love, you know, $5,000-$10,000 deals, but my goal is to get, you know, as big as deal possible that it's a win-win situation. So when you speak with homeowners, right? If you're cold calling a homeowner, homeowners have a number in their head. A lot of homeowners say, well, I don't know. You call me, what's your number? If you gave the homeowner $5,000 for a $300,000 property, they wouldn't take it. So they have a number in their head, except it's up to you to find out what that number is. So the way I give my offers is exactly like this, guys. So whenever I'm looking at comps, I look for the lowest price property that's sold. That's not my offer. This is where I start. It's anchor pricing. Maybe you guys heard of it, maybe not, but it's called anchor pricing. So let's say, for example, the ARV is 300,000. I'm looking at comps in the area. I find a complete dump that sold for $100,000. Hey, Mr. Seller, are you familiar with XYZ Street? Yeah, what about it? Well, there's a property here on 123 XYZ Street that sold for $100,000. And then I'd be quiet. Now, a lot of people are going to get insulted, but that's a good thing. I'll tell you why. Because if they get insulted, you know they're nowhere near that number. And if they say, oh, you're crazy, I'll never sell for that, and they try to hang up on you, well, Mr. Smith, whatever, I'm not saying that's what my offer is. I'm just giving facts of the neighborhood. Yeah, I could never do $100,000. I need to be 150. Some people will respond with their number without even knowing it, right? So I anchor price every single call just to see how motivated they are. Some people, like, you'll be surprised. If your max offer is 150 and you anchor price at 100, they'll be like, I won't take a penny. You're crazy. I won't do 100. I won't take a penny less than 125, right? So the goal of anchor pricing is to show, for them to show their cards before you do yours. And you always want to give a range. And another important, very important note is, guys, if you know what your max offer is, let's say my max offer is 150, and the homeowner says, you called me, you give me an offer. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking around the area here. It looks like as an investment company, we would probably have to be between 100,000 to 140,000. Every homeowner that I spoke to, they've never chosen the bottom number. Oh, I'll take 100,000. They're always going to want the top number. But remember, just because they choose the top, they always want a little bit more. So I try to make at least a minimum of $10,000 on every deal. And every time I go into range mode, if the homeowner doesn't like the bottom number, they say they want something closer to the top number, I'll hesitate, but I still want to have that safety room where it's a decent deal. But the goal of anchor pricing and offer range mode is for them to show their cards before you do yours, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're given that range, when you just said 100 to 140, is 140 really your offer, or do you still have room to go there?
If for example, if my max offer is 150, I'll say that top number of that range is 140, because every homeowner, they always want as much as possible, right? So if they want 145, it's still a $15,000 deal. If they want 150, it's still a $10,000 deal. Because if you say my max offer is between 100 and 150, and now they want 155, some people say, I want 155 and I'll sign the contract today. You're only going to make $5,000. So it's really a negotiation game. And I'm very transparent and open with people. I tell them, hey, I'm an investor. I don't pay above full market value. I'm not always a good fit. If you need to sell a specific price, I'll even tell you cash offer is not going to make sense. I do have a team of agents that can assist you. But when people are negotiating with you, you don't want to show your cards. You want them negotiating with themselves, but you want it to be a win-win-win situation. So if they want 145 and they're happy, you're still making $15,000. It's a win-win situation for everybody. So you always want at least $5,000 to $10,000 underneath your real number if you want juicy deals.
Got it. That's awesome, man. I didn't realize how much until listening back to you now, how much of this I've actually worked into my process. And guys, this is one of the biggest takeaways from me in the past year is that offer range right there. When you throw out a number, especially one that you think is low, it's like you're virtually smacking them across the face with it, and they're going to tell you to F off. But if you come in the range, they're going to be a lot softer. It's going to be a lot softer of a negotiation going forward, at least in my experience. Steven, when you're going back and forth on phone calls, are you going all the way through qualifying and then presenting that offer on one phone call? Or is that broken up a little bit, or how do you work it?
If I talk to somebody for the first time, I try to close them the first time.
Wow, okay.
And that's not always going to happen, guys. You're not always going to close every deal. It's kind of like when you talked about the 17 contracts I got in 5 days. That wasn't like, hey, I'm going to make you an offer, it's accepted by. That was really a series of follow-up, which I'll talk about in a second. But every person I talk to, I go through the whole script every time, and I try to close them that first time. Some people, you know, they'll be at the grocery store, they can't sign the contract, they'll be busy, life happens. But the most important thing is to get a time commitment out of them, so when you call them back, they're going to expect you. The money's in the follow-up. You know, those 17 contracts in 5 days, it was a series of previous people that said yes that I followed with up perfectly, where then it just all like snowballed in 5 days. It was crazy. I was getting like three to four contracts a day with a pretty high price point. So did you want me to talk about follow-up, how I did that?
Yeah, I'd love it. Go for it.
Okay, because I know we got 30 minutes here. But this is the way I got those 17 contracts in 5 days. And you guys can do this, and you can train your team to do this. So my follow-up process, I reflected at that. I'm like, how the heck did I get 17 contracts in 5 days? I like impressed myself, and I look back at what I did, and it was really follow-up. And my follow-up goes like this. If you talk to a hot lead and they say, hey, call me tomorrow, you have to get a time commitment out of that seller. So when you call them back, they're going to expect that. A lot of investors, they say, okay, I'll call you tomorrow. When you call that homeowner the next day, they're not going to expect your call at a specific time, right? So you have a less chance of them picking up the phone. But if you tell them, hey, what's a good time I could check back in with you tomorrow, see how it goes? Call me at 12 p.m. tomorrow. Some people won't say a time. It's okay. Say, is it better in the mornings, afternoons, evenings? Once they give you a time to call back, you're going to have such a higher chance of them picking up the phone. It's going to be crazy. So that kind of just snowballed. Everybody started picking up the phone. It took a couple of 2-3 touches a few weeks before for people to accept. They signed the offer. So my follow-up process, if somebody doesn't pick up the phone, and let's say it's a hot lead, the next day I'll call them at 9 a.m., right? I'll leave a voicemail and I'll leave one text. If they still don't answer, I call at 12 p.m. I don't leave a voicemail. I don't leave a text. If they still don't answer, I'll call between 5 and 6, and I won't leave a voicemail or won't leave a text. I'll do that for about 2 to 3 days. But remember, the most important thing is you do not want to leave a voicemail and text every call, because at that point they might block your number. But I don't know how many people, like on my smartphone, like how many missed calls, voicemails, and unread texts you have. Not that many. So if you do that once for every call, at least per day, for 2 to 3 days, they're going to know you're calling. And some people will ignore you. So then you have to call from different numbers, a Google Voice, an office line, right? If they're in your market, have an agent put a sticky note on the door. Hey, sorry, we missed you, right? So you want to get creative if people don't pick up the phone. But what I found to be really effective is calling 3 times a day for 2 to 3 days straight. Leave a voicemail and text the first time they call. You guys, if you really implement that today, starting today, you'll see your deal conversion skyrocket, because people are a lot more likely to follow back up with you or call the phone. Also, another tip that goes into that, I've lost a lot of deals following up with people when they told me to follow up if it's longer than a week. So example, I was in Tampa and this guy was selling land. Right off the bat, it was like $100,000 deal. I was excited. I'm like, this is a deal. He says, hey, call me next month. I got to talk to my wife or something like that. I called him the next month. He sold it to somebody else. If you think sellers are just talking to you, you're really mistaken, especially if it's a hot deal. So if he says, call me next month, I'll call in 2 weeks. If he says, call me in 2 weeks, I'll call in 1 week. Always cut your follow-up time in half if it's longer than a week or two. And that way you can really, the worst they can say is, hey, I told you to call me in 2 months or a month. I'm so sorry, situations may change. Just want to check in with you. No problem. I'll check back in with you when you needed me to. But, that really helped me out, close a lot more deals, and make people really commit the day they told me to call them.
Guys, that's a nugget right there you can implement today in your business. The follow-up time, but then also what he said about calling 3 times a day, leaving a voicemail, and leaving a text, and then calling at different times. Really, really effective. Steve, how many offers do you think you have to make to get one accepted? And then how many offers accept on the spot versus come back later and finally accept?
That's a tough one. So I would say, like, if you guys talk to 50 interested leads, like people say, I want an offer no matter how much they want, usually you're going to get 15 that are really motivated. Out of every 15 people that are motivated, you should at least have one contract, at least one contract. But, you know, the percentage of people that close the first time, like it's, you know, probably, I don't know, 10, 15%, you know, 95% of people, they're going to lock up the deal with you, like probably second or third call, if you stay on top of them. Because those deals that you guys close them over the phone the first time, it's not always going to happen unless they're really motivated, but it will happen. And it's always, I always push for over the phone, and over 90% of my deals are right over the phone. I use DocuSign. But the really key ingredient is just follow up, making them commit to a time for you to call them back. It really skyrockets my conversion just simply by, you know, them telling me a time to call them back.
Yeah, that's amazing. So when someone says no, what do you do? And they just say no to that offer, or it's just not even, I'm going to think about it, but it's a no. What do you do?
Okay, Mr. Seller, what is your deciding factor between selling this property or not? You know, I want to dig in a little bit more, right? Because my offer may not work. I still have the listing, but if they're motivated, I still push a little bit for the cash offer if we're not too far apart. So if they didn't like shut down my offer, but they said no, I'm still digging in. I say, hey, but you know, I know you said you're not really looking to sell right now. You don't like that offer. Just out of curiosity, I mean, what would be your deciding factor between moving or forward or not? You know, because if you don't want to sell, I can completely understand, but what would be your deciding factor? Try to dig in a little bit more. And for some people, if you're having a great convo and it gets to the end, they say, oh, I don't want to sell anymore. Say, hey, okay, no problem. I completely understand that. Hey, just out of curiosity, before we hang up, if you were to sell the property, what would you sell it for? And then they'll spit out a number, and now you're back into negotiation. It's crazy, guys. I don't want you guys to take this for granted, because the biggest differences and accomplishments I've had in my business is really in the small details. So that follow-up 3 times a day, I promise you, if you implement that, it's going to change, right? The follow-up time for them to commit, that's another big takeaway. So it's really the small differences, and if somebody's interested in an offer but they say no, don't take it as no. Dig in a little bit more. Worst case scenario, refer to an agent as listing. But if they're motivated, they want to sell. You got to find out what is influencing them to sell or not to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, man. It seems like your style is very low pressure, and you're letting them have the decision, right? You're putting that in their hands.
Yep.
I love that.
I think that's my favorite thing, because, you know, homeowners and people's, you know, consumers, they're so used to pressure. So it's like if you go to a gym, you're going to get a guy that says, hey, we got this, like sign up today, get a trial. And then you get the guy that says, hey, this is what we have to offer. Hold on to this flyer. I'm over here if you need me. I'm that guy. Because if, you know, people, they get turned off if you're too much like, let's close the deal. Like, what's your offer? Like, let's do it. You know, give them a little space, give them some options. The more you take away, the more attracted they're going to be to you and your offer. So
absolutely. We're getting to the back end here. I want to touch on 2 small topics really quick. A lot of us are looking to hire, and there's a lot of people looking for work right now. If we're looking for a good acquisition rep for our business, what do you look for when you're saying this guy is going to be good, he's going to be a heavy hitter, or he's not going to work out? I can already tell. What are those like kind of factors you could look for?
Great question. So the way I hire people when it comes to acquisitions is I look for some kind of they need to have, sales is preferred but not mandatory, but they need to have some kind of customer service, like something. Because the learning curve, if they don't know how to talk to people, you can teach anybody how to do real estate, whatever. But if they don't know how to talk to people, you're going to have a hard time training them. So I look for somebody that's hardworking. I post on Indeed, wisehire.com. I used to work door to door, so door to door guys are great. You know, debt collectors, telemarketing sales, those kind of things. And then I invite them in. I mean, right now with all this stuff going on, some states are open, some are not. But I invite them in the first day. I ask them questions like, what are your goals in the next 5 years? What's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? And something they don't expect is I actually throw them on cold calls the first day. And a lot of them like, whoa, like what's going on? And this is not what I signed up for. But the point of that is simply to see how do they communicate with homeowners, because you're going to get people that like they freeze and whatever. And, you know, I tell everybody, like, I don't expect you to close the deal. I expect you to mess up. I just want to see how you talk to people. You'll be surprised when they actually get on the phone with people, they either get angry, they either try to overcome the objection if they don't know the answer to, but I want to look for people that try to engage with that person, right? And once they pass that test, the next week they come in, you know, I train them on the script, the comps, the day 1 and 2 and day 3, 4, and 5. I put everything together, but they actually have a 5-day grace period. And this is the reason why I do that. A lot of people don't do that, but this is why I do it. I've hired like business to business sales killers, right? But these guys sometimes, not everybody, but some people, they're just not coachable. Like I'll literally sit next to them. I'll say, all right, this is your offer. Tell the homeowner this. And they do the complete opposite. They've never done real estate investment acquisitions before. They try to throw in their own flavor. Maybe after a quarter, you know, you could try to throw your own flavor or give me you know, feedback. But if it's your first week and you're trying to do like your own script, your own closing, those aren't guys that are going to be good for your culture. You want to cut those loose. You want to find team players that align with your core values, and try to look for people with customer service or sales experience.
Dude, I love that. Last question. Why do you do all this? What is your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal? Where do you want to go?
Great question. So when I first got into this, before I got into real estate investment acquisitions, I mean, I could write a book about my life, but I was working 4 jobs. I was working at a grocery store. I was working at a restaurant, right? And I was working at a bar at nights. And then on weekends, I would work at a gas station. 4 freaking jobs, trying to raise a kid, trying to go to school. And I was just, it was horrible. I'm like, man, I need something that gives me financial freedom. I ran into this guy he did sales and real estate investments. And he just had a great, very humble, great personality, and he made great money. And the thing is, money is a powerful tool, and you can use it positively to impact a lot of people's lives, your family, you know, the community, charities. So I wanted to get in this game because of financial freedom. And this was 5-6 years ago. And then once I became financially free, I was transitioning into real estate investment acquisitions, by the way. Like I never just jumped right into this, because I was working at a door-to-door. After 4 jobs in 1 month is really hard. I dropped the gas station, and I said, I'm good at sales. Let me do door-to-door again. So I was doing door-to-door. I came across real estate investment on, I think it was YouTube, after the sales mentor told me, look out YouTube and stuff like that. He didn't want to mentor me at that time, but I had to go learn myself. And I just learned more about it. And since I did door-to-door, I'm literally driving for dollars all day, every weekend, right? So I would look at vacant property, stuff like that. My first deal was a $7,000 deal from a door-to-door, driving for dollars. But you're going to get to a point where once you're financially free, like, what's your next goal? For me, it was my son. It was my family, you know, my mom and dad retiring. I love to travel. I like to spend time with my family, friends, and I just like having the freedom to do what I want with whoever I want, whenever I want. And not only that, but helping other people get there, because I know what it's like. Like, when I was working those 4 jobs, I was raising a kid, I was going through a divorce, I went through depression, and real estate and sales got me out of that. And there's people going through stuff that they need hope. You know, they need hope. And I feel like real estate investment was like a great vehicle to get to financial freedom. And not only that, but now I speak on stage and, you know, close deals and help a lot of other people so they can have success in their business and their life. So that's pretty much it for that.
Dude, I love that. And what I hear from that is you have a heavy emotional tie into doing what you do. It's just not a hobby. You're going out there and you're taking action, massive action, because you have such an underlying emotional reason. I love that. All right, before we go, Steven, tell everyone where they can find you. Tell everyone where they can follow you. Tell them, I know you do some coaching, so if they want to learn how to do this more in depth, tell them where they can get involved with that. You know, we're your fans here, man. Like to follow.
So I'm going to type in here. I think out of all platforms on social media, the best platform you guys can connect with me is Instagram. On Facebook, I've reached my cap. I don't even know how to make, I think you can make your profile private, but then people can't add you. They can only follow you. But I'm really active on Instagram because I just like the interface a lot more. I can do live calls on Instagram Live. You know, and right now we're having that Closers Olympics. I promote that. It's awesome. You know, I signed a publishing deal with Real Advisors in February, and now basically all my own courses and content. You guys could reach out to me if you want to learn more about the course. Actually, the link is actually in my Instagram bio. I'm actually working on a brand new one with a partner of mine, Chris Gomez. He's out of California. He's another sales monster. So, you know, I do courses and stuff like that, but the best way to just, you know, see what I'm doing or connect with me is Instagram.
Absolutely, man. That's incredible. And he is participating in the Closer Olympics put on by Quentin. I forget his last name.
Flores, yeah.
Yeah, Quentin Flores.
It's
So check that out as well. Steven, thank you so much for your time, my man. I'm a huge fan of you guys. This guy is a heavy hitter. If you want to be a heavy hitter in sales, you got to start watching other heavy hitters. You got to start talking like they do. Thank you so much for all your time, man. I'm your biggest fan. Let me know how I can repay the favor and stay active in the group. We're looking forward to it, man.
Awesome. And on a last note, guys, I just want to let you guys know this, that, you know, what I found, and I know a lot of top investors like Lee Kearney is also one of the heavy hitters out there. I agree with them on this. Like, out of everything in this business, you know, acquisitions other than marketing is the most important piece, because marketing, dispositions, like that stuff is plug and play with the right systems and tools. But acquisitions and sales, if you can learn that and train your team to do that, your business will be a lot better off. So, you know, just look at the right guidance from the right people. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything, feel free to reach out and I'll help you any way I can.
Awesome, man. I took my business from doing 3 to 4 a month, and now we're doing at least 8 to 10 a month just in the past 3 months. So
wow,
I know this shit works. I know it. Thank
awesome.
you so much for all that advice, man.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one. Go crush it.
Hey, guys, thanks for showing up today. Catch you next week. This elevator is going up. Peace.